Is Season 2 of X Defiant enough? What do I mean by that? Well, I'm curious as to if the content, and in turn, the content roadmap for Season 2 of X Defiant, is enough to satisfy the community and keep the game alive. Season 2 of Ubisoft's take on a Call of Duty game, X Defiant, released a few days ago, and with it, brought some new content. The new content being the Highwaymen faction from Far Cry New Dawn, as well as 3 new weapons, a new map, a search and destroy bomb mode, which is incredibly fun, as well as a new refresh in the battle pass and some store items. As somebody who plays X Defiant casually and is a fan of this game, games like Call of Duty, I personally think it is, but that is just for me. I'm someone who is already hooked onto the game. I love games like Call of Duty, and X Defiant is that niche of a COD-like, which is perfect for me. However, how does the wider community feel about X Defiant? Well, I don't have access to player numbers. Tom Henderson did report just about over a month ago that X Defiant's player numbers were starting to decline below 20,000 and the game was on borrowed time and could possibly be cancelled by Ubisoft. X Defiant faces a unique struggle of being a free-to-play video game with a fantastic microtransaction model where factions are earnable and skins can just be purchased and they are purely cosmetic. And even though the factions are earnable, if you want, you could still purchase them and get them instantly, which is pretty similar to a lot of other free-to-play games with factions and unlockable characters or whatnot. This is compared to Call of Duty, which has a similar model of being able to purchase cosmetics. However, there is already pre-existing hype with Call of Duty, and Call of Duty features a $70 price tag. And you may be wondering to yourself, if Call of Duty is so popular and already has a $70 price tag, why isn't X Defiant equally popular? Because it's a free-to-play game. Why isn't it even more popular than Call of Duty? Well, X Defiant was incredibly popular during its initial beta period, where it was racking in nearly 2 million concurrent players. However, post-release, X Defiant has struggled to return to those beta numbers. Why is that? Well, X Defiant is a new game, and the engine that runs this game was initially meant for MMOs. That means that the developers had to completely gut this engine and rework it into being a engine that works properly for a Call of Duty-like video game. X Defiant doesn't have the generational structure that Call of Duty has. And with that structure comes a player base, which, although X Defiant is fitting a niche of, hey, we are similar to Call of Duty, since it isn't part of a Call of Duty game, it's not going to be as popular as the Call of Duty brand. And some people are just stubborn. They will just stick to the Call of Duty brand and see everything else as a knockoff. Additionally, when X Defiant was released, this game was plagued with a lot of server issues, and the preseason period also stagnated with content. This lack of content meant that people who weren't already hooked onto X Defiant were likely not going to be staying. I imagine that this poor first impression period may have simply caused players to lose interest in the game and not give it another chance. Now, does X Defiant Season 2 fix that tough launch period that this game had? I think that Season 2 is taking fantastic steps to add depth into X Defiant and add pretty great features like an S&D mode, which is going to appeal to a wider Call of Duty audience. And it's important to note that X Defiant is a live service game, so they are always taking steps to improve the game and add onto it. And I think that X Defiant could possibly, by building itself back up, could reach its previous beta popularity one day. But I don't think Season 2 really has the hook that the X Defiant beta had that brought in 2 million players. I think that it adds great depth into the game, but I don't know if it's going to be really attracting that many new players. One issue that I personally have with X Defiant currently and the live service model with it is how much content is releasing. Currently, in the 90-day long seasons of X Defiant, 3 maps release within one of these seasons. That means that on average, there will be 1 new map every month. A huge issue comes up when these maps are split between the 2 distinct game modes in X Defiant. There are the linear escort maps, where the entire match slowly progresses through a map, and then there's the more traditional team deathmatch domination maps, where it's just a simple map that people run around on. That means when new maps are added, they're either going to be one of these linear maps or they're going to be one of the more traditional maps. Now this creates an issue because some people, like myself, don't like the linear maps, and some people don't like the traditional maps. This creates a split in the player base where if you only play one type of map or mode like myself, you're basically only going to be getting 1 to 2 maps a season. And this lack of maps just kind of causes the game to feel stale, in my opinion. I love the new maps. I think they are so incredibly made, and I just wish we got more of them. I'm no game developer, but I just really wish that when they added a linear escort map, they were able to have just a section of that map chopped off and then maybe extend it a little bit and make it good for like a traditional multiplayer map. That way there's the best of both worlds. The people who like the linear maps are getting a linear version of the map, and the people who like playing the traditional multiplayer modes get a traditional multiplayer map. That's really my only personal issue, and I just wish there was more maps in this game, because that's honestly probably my favorite part about this game is the maps. But that's just my opinion. I think Xdefiant is taking great steps to add more depth into the game, and it can only get better from here. If you're somebody who's kind of on the fence about Xdefiant and maybe hasn't played it since beta or the initial preseason, I really recommend maybe taking, another chance with it. But I'm really curious to what you guys think. Do you have issues with Xdefiant? Do you like Xdefiant? Let me know down in the comments below. And with all that being said, I just want to say thank you so much to watching to the very end of this video. And I know this is so overplayed, but being a small YouTube channel, if you did enjoy this YouTube video, it would mean the world to me if you left a like. And hey, if you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. Anyways, with all that being said, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.